My name is Peter Marshall and I'm an educational psychologist and research methodologist. My book, Research Methods, is used in universities all over the world and published in several languages. This series of videos will take you through the whole subject from choosing the questions to ask, getting to grips with theory, how to formulate hypotheses, choosing the right methods, sampling, analysing the data, assessing the quality of your findings, triangulation, how to report your findings, and guidance on research ethics. Research is not simply describing what you find, it goes further than that. When you speak of research, you mean studying something so that you can explain it and predict its behaviour. For some researchers, the goal is to understand the worldviews and ways of life of others. But this still involves more than mere description. They're not simply painting a picture of what they see, they're delving below the surface so that they can make sense of it. The number of questions we can ask about the world around us is infinite. How can we decide where to start? Well, those facts that provide an answer to the greatest number of questions are initially the most useful. Let me give you an example. In the early years of educational research, some social scientists devoted their attention and resources to finding evidence of a relationship between achievement and social class. This information was of greater value than would have been a discovery that achievement was related to parents' attitudes to education. There were and still are many factors besides attitudes to education that serve to disadvantage working class children and advantage middle class ones. Negative attitudes to education at home may not have explained some working class children's underachievement, for their parents may have valued education highly. Other facts, like attitudes of neighbouring children towards school and lack of money to buy books, may have caused them to underachieve instead. All of these situations were more likely to be found in the homes of manual workers than in those of white-collar and professional ones. By confirming a statistical association at this more general conceptual level, a relatively large proportion of underachievement could be explained. Much less of the problem could have been accounted for if attention had been focused instead upon particular factors such as parental or neighbourhood attitudes towards education, or poverty in the home. The first lesson is, therefore, the more questions a fact can answer, that is, the more scope it has, the more useful it is to science and society. Next, I'm going to turn to the issue of scope. Facts of considerable scope provide relatively important pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, for they serve as a guide for the attentions of subsequent researchers. The discovery that socio-economic group is an important influence on school achievement, for instance, provided researchers with the opportunity to take the concept of socio-economic group to bits. They could then set about examining all the things which distinguish one group from another in educationally relevant ways. In this way, more precise knowledge of how socio-economic group affects achievement became known. These more particular factors are what we call process variables, while the concept of socio-economic group is termed a frame variable. There's an art to doing jigsaw puzzles. It's not efficient to just take any bit and try to place it in its appropriate place. People usually start at the outer rim or with meaningful bits of central features, an eye, followed by a matching eye, and then a nose, for example. Well, scientific knowledge is a jigsaw puzzle too, so we need to build up the picture in a similar way if we're going to make progress efficiently. When an area of inquiry is in its infancy, there are no scientific theories from which to form hypotheses to test. Research can only begin by induction. The bits need to be put together by whatever clues are available, just as those who do jigsaw puzzles rely on the straight edges for building up the outer rim, and their familiarity with faces, houses, cars and other familiar objects to construct the inner features. Once the outer rim and the central features are completed, though, calculated guesses can be made about what details connect the two. These suggest what kinds of pieces we should look for to fill in the middle ground. Things work in the same way in the scientific picture. The last pieces we tend to put in are those that link the large scale to the small scale picture. We do it by making calculated guesses, which we call hypotheses, and testing them with data to build theories, a subject that will be dealt with in a subsequent module. When working on either the central features or the periphery of a jigsaw puzzle, we look for the bits that make most sense of the picture. Think about it. If you built a bit of a tall-masted ship and part of a sunset, a piece that contains a bit of both will move the picture on no end, for it will fix the position of one of the sections you've built up in relation to the other. This would be far more productive than gathering together pieces to build a quite different section from scratch. The same applies to building the scientific jigsaw puzzle. Look for the facts that give harmonious order to the picture already there, rather than isolated facts that will perhaps only add to the confusion. Now, rare and extreme cases are always worth studying if they have not already been tested. This is because they can reveal the limitations of the knowledge to date. They can tell us whether there are exceptions that a theory does not explain, and whether a theory holds true for the full range of independent variable measurements. IQ, for example, is a good predictor of school success over most of the range, but it does not work so well beyond a certain level. If limits are found to a theory's scope, other theories can be worked on to explain that range of phenomena for which current theory does not provide. To summarize then, firstly, look for general facts. Secondly, focus on the large or the small scale. Thirdly, it can be useful to study rare or extreme cases. And fourthly, choose facts that contribute to a harmonious ordering of the knowledge. I'm Dr. Peter Marshall, author of Research Methods, and I hope you found this helpful and that you'll join me for the next module in this series, which will focus on getting to grips with theories. Full information on this and all of my other books and publications can be found on my website, drpetermarshall.com. You can also access my many articles and advice designed to help you in your career by following me on LinkedIn by using the link linkedin.in/Dr. Peter Marshall, and the story of my own professional development in weekly installments by following me on facebook.com/drpeter.marshall.35.